Senator, let's begin with that story. What do you make of the bid to place the Discayas under the Witness Protection Program? Do you think they have enough? Tama po ba si Senator Marcoleta?
I think mas tamang sabihin na masyadong premature i-consider na ipasok sa Witness Protection Program yung mga Discaya. They haven't told us everything. Diba? Sinabi lang nila 2022 to 2025. What happened to the 2016 to 2022? Na una nang inamin ni Sara Discaya that they started receiving the big national projects in 2016. Nasaan rin yung mga ebidensya nila and any other corroborating witnesses doon sa mga pangalan na ibinunyag na nila, diba? And as for that matter of they must return first the money they allegedly stole, sabi naman ni Senator Marcoleta, i-confront daw niya si Secretary Remulla tungkol dyan. But at the very least, I think I agree that they have not qualified to enter the Witness Protection Program as the least guilty and having told everything that they know. Malinaw naman, Ms. Gretchen, na hindi pa nila sinasabi lahat ng katotohanan.
Yun nga ho, no? May mga katanungan kung bakit walang impormasyon from 2016 to 2022. Ano po ang inyong pakiramdam? Meron po kayang attempt to whitewash any culpability of the Duterte officials here by the Discayas?
Well, if there's any perceived and felt attempt to whitewash, kaya hindi pa pumapayag yung Senado at yung Blue Ribbon Committee na ipasok sila as state witness to the Witness Protection Program of the DOJ. Diba there has to be a sense of confidence and even trust already in the authorities kung i-admit nila ang ilang witnesses dun sa program na iyan. And if they haven't told all, then why would the state extend its highest form of protection for them?
Correct. Okay. But on the other end, we also have Bryce Hernandez. Do you think he's qualified to be placed under the Witness Protection Program?
Well, none of us are even saying or saying yet na ipasok si Bryce Hernandez dun sa Witness Protection Program. I'm one of the senators who's still looking forward to questioning all of them, no? The Discayas, Bryce Hernandez, and let's go beyond even Bulacan. That's palawakin natin yung scope of investigation because that's just one of the 82 provinces. So I don't think anybody has appeared before us yet, the Blue Ribbon, who would qualify to be entered into the Witness Protection Program. Medyo halos kasi simula pa lang yung investigasyon.
There are concerns that, with his stay at the Senate, that he could be influenced by the names that he accused here. How does the Senate assure that this won't be a problem?
Well, we've had witnesses in our custody and in physical custody at the Senate before. And yet nakita natin, Ms. Gretchen, the investigations on Farmally and on other burning issues of the past few years. We were able to bring those, whether the Senate Committee on Women before or the Blue Ribbon Committee, naiuwi naman namin yon sa isang maayos na resolution. We came out with valuable findings at nakapaglabas din kami ng mga malalakas na rekomendasyon. So we will do our best also in this case.
But do you agree that he be kept at the Senate?
Yes,
given that was his request?
No. It was mostly because yan ang naging desisyon ng Senado. And even early on, yun yung sinusulong ng minority. So, in-affirm namin kahapon sa session na the decision to bring him back and detain him again at the Senate premises, yun yung tinataguyod ng Senado.
Okay, ibig sabihin, kumbaga doon sa area kung saan man siya nakatuloy, hindi papayagan pumunta doon individually ang mga senador? Kasi yun nga po yung parang pinaka-concern.
Ni-reiterate ni Senate President kahapon, only his lawyers and the family may visit him there. Hindi kami doon.
And regarding that, no, the plenary has been tense in recent days with heated exchanges between Senate President Tito Sotto and members of the minority. What are your thoughts on those clashes?
Siguro normal lang yan, Ms. Gretchen, when the Senate is setting up its household again after a leadership transition. Basta ang importante para sa akin, the 15 of us in the majority are committed na ipagpatuloy yung iba't ibang mga trabaho ng Senado, whether in plenary or especially also in the committee hearings. Kasi tuloy-tuloy naman yung pagkilos ng committee system namin.
Oo, kaya lang ito po yung parang pinakaunang desisyon ni SP Sotto, ano? And mukhang he will be met with a lot of resistance from the minority. How do you expect these developments to affect the Senate's work moving forward? Will it always be like this? Do you expect that, these exchanges?
I expect, exchanges, ano naman yan par for the course, anytime, but bilang Senate ay deliberative body. Basta again, ang importante para sa akin is dead set ang majority na ipagpatuloy yung trabaho namin sa Senado, whether that's pushing bills into law or sustaining investigations into privileged speeches and resolutions like this Blue Ribbon hearings. Siyempre, yung budget-making process, which we've just started and we're in the middle of, or for that matter, impeachment processes na maya't-maya dumarating sa Senado. So, I'm not worried kung maging tense pa rin or mas relax na yung trabaho namin sa Senado. Ang importante ay the majority is dead set on committing our work, all of us as an institution, at sa ilalim ng bagong liderato ng Senate President Tito Sotto.
Lumutang nga po yung pangalan ni Senator Alan Peter Cayetano bilang posibleng making a bid for the Senate presidency. Is there a truth to that? Meron po bang bid na yon? At meron po ba kayong concern of any moves to unseat the current Senate President?
Well, lumutang yan pero napatunayan na fake news dahil hanggang ngayon and looking forward, firmly in place ang majority. Ang mga leadership transitions naman, well, how many times have those happened in the whole history of the Senate as an institution? Kami nakatutok dun sa pagtatrabaho namin bilang Senado.
Lumabas na ho yung kompletong pangalan ng mga miyembro nitong Independent Commission on Infrastructure. Are you confident on the members and their independence coming into this probe? And do you think that this body has actual real powers to come up with findings that exact accountability?
Well, we want to give the Independent Commission the full proper legal authority and powers to go after the flood control scam culprits. Kaya nga magiging co-author din ako ng bill ni Senate President Sotto para dito because I support and welcome this Independent Commission for Infrastructure.
Kailangan po ba ng EO ito para parang maging opisyal?
Well, naglabas na nga ng EO si Presidente, but even before that, sina Rep. Laila sa House, kasama sina Rep. Chel, I believe there are about 12 co-authors, meron na rin silang na-i-file na bill. And si SP Tito nga, meron ding na-i-file na bill dito sa Senado. At yun yung i-co-author naming iba't ibang mga senador para lalo pang palakasin itong Independent Commission. So, hindi lang siya backed up ng EO, may support na pa siya ng isang batas.
But kung sakasakali ho, itong Independent Commission, will this be temporary? Or will this be somehow institutionalized given na kayo po ay magpa-file ng bill?
May institutionalize yung powers at saka authority niya habang siya'y nag-iimbestiga. Oo, so wala namang commission na forever, di ba? Pero ang importante, habang nag-iimbestiga siya, so hindi lang nag-iimbestiga sa Bulacan, kundi lahat ng mga probinsya na dapat mag-imbestiga, ay meron siyang full mandate and powers. beyond the life of the Independent Commission. So tuloy-tuloy yung aming efforts, for example, to make the budget process more transparent and accountable. So, unanimously, halimbawa, pinasa namin dito sa Senado yung concurrent resolution number 4. That's a good start. Dapat kaming mag-build on dyan. Nauna na nga yung resolution ng old minority under former minority leader Tito Soto at kasama noon ng Nina Senator Kiko at Bam para sa open BICAM. So, yung mga yan, isusulong namin even beyond the life of the Independent Commission on Infrastructure. Pero syempre, malamang gamit yung mga findings at recommendations din ng Independent Commission na yan, at least as far as the budget-making process is concerned.
Okay, but your thoughts on the members of the Independent Commission? There have been, some people have cast doubt on Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong and his independence, knowing that he is a close Duterte ally himself.
Well, another thing that could be said for Mayor Magalong ay isa siya sa mga local government chief executives na matagal nang at consistently nagko-call out sa mga issue ng corruption. So yan yung nakikita kong what he brings to the Independent Commission. Siyempre, nandun din si dating DPWH Secretary Babe Singson, who di lamang alam na alam niya yung inside out ng DPWH. Pero nung panahon niya ay talagang into a very great degree napalinis niya yung pagkilos ng mga DPWH officials and personnel kaugnay ng ganitong mga infrastructure projects. And then it's always good to have one of the top accounting firms and someone sharing na mula dating justice. So let's give this Independent Commission for Infrastructure a chance. Dagdag sa ginagawa namin sa Blue Ribbon, dagdag sa ginagawa ng TRICOM sa House naman. I'm really hoping that this Independent Commission, all three of us bodies working together, mabubuo namin yung kwento tungkol dito sa flood control projects at makakabuo kami ng malalakas na rekomendasyon moving forward to finally reduce in large part, if not eliminate, corruption sa ganito mga infrastructure projects.
And regarding that, it is budget season, and the thought of removing the flood control or flood mitigation budget has been floated. Kayo po ba ay pabor na tanggalin na lang po ito sa budget for 2026?
Hindi naman ganon. Medyo nagulat ako sa ganon. Feeling ko medyo overreaction kasi talagang dapat linisin ang anumang korupsyon, whether sa flood control projects na kinorap or sa ibang mga infrastructure projects na kinurap o kahit sa ibang mga programa, activities, projects na kinurap sa mga nakaraang taon. But totoo namang binabagyo tayo several times a year, every year. So may mga lugar talaga na binabaha. At yung mga yon na scientifically identified, yun ang dapat magkaroon pa rin ng flood control programs. Pero malinis. Talagang ini-implementa fully and well, hindi substandard, hindi overpriced, lalong hindi ghost, So, i-rationalize natin yung budget-making process hanggang budget execution para mapondohan talaga natin at magawa talaga yung mga proyekto na kailangan ng ating mga mamamayan at deserve ng mga mamamayan bilang mga taxpayers.
More of realignments then, instead of removing it altogether.
That's right. And ngayon, we're in the early stages, at least as the Senate, in the budget-making process. So, ayusin namin yung makikita namin dito sa Blue Ribbon investigation, ayusin namin para sa budget 2026. Yung tamang dapat babudgetan na mga items, whether sa flood control o sa ibang infrastructure programs at sa iba pang programa ng gobyerno.
Okay. As we all know, this is systemic. This is a systemic problem. Very wide ang kanyang scope mula sa ilalim hanggang sa taas. O hanggang sa ating mga lawmakers. Ano kayang I mean, how do we provide the public some sense of accountability and teeth to the investigations. At paano po kaya? Kasi meron nga po mga nailutang na pangalan ng mga politiko dito. Lahat po ba ito? I mean, ito, iiwan na po natin yan dito sa ICI, yung mga pangalan nila para makapag-file ng actual cases?
Hindi naman. Ngayon pa lang nagsimula na, halimbawa, i-turn over ni Senator Ting yung bunga ng kanyang investigasyon, nandun sa kanyang privileged speeches sa DPWH para mag-case build up at mag-file ng mga kaso. This is the least, Ms. Gretchen, this is the least we owe our people. Bunga ng aming investigasyon sa Blue Ribbon at gayon din ng House of Tricom at itong Independent Commission na talagang masisingil yung accountability ng mga dapat managot at dapat ay maparusahan kung sino-sino lahat ang mapatunayang guilty. We cannot end just with investigations. Kita natin yung lakas ng damdamin, yung talas ng analysis ng ating mga kababayan, which they will be bringing to the anti-corruption rallies this Sunday. So the least we can do is all the three bodies buuin yung buong kwento nitong korupsyong ito and start putting an end to it by doing or supporting the filing of the proper cases against all, hindi lang contractors, hindi lang DPWH personnel and officials, pati kung sino man sa aming mga mambabatas ay mapatunayang accountable dito.
Senator, kahapon kausap po si Senator Sherwin Gatchalian at tinatanong ko nga po sa kanya, paano kaya tayo maglalagay ng appropriate checks and balances o paano nilinisin yung buong budget dahil sobrang dami pong line items po niyan. At tinanong ko rin sa kanya, hindi ba legal naman po yung lobbying? Parang how do we know if this is an illegal insertion? And I'm referring also to, for example, the text messages between Senator Joel, the supposed text messages between him and Henry Alcantara. Hindi po ba on your end, itong pakikipag-coordinate with the departments, a part of the process of the discussions on the budget? So how do we know, how do we sift through all this data and determine ano po yung legal at illegal?
Well, ang litmus test dyan, Ms. Gretchen, ay kung yung mga proposed amendments naming mga mambabatas sa budget ay evidence-based. Halimbawa, galing ba yan sa mga local development plans ng mga LGUs? May pagbabasihan ba yan na local ordinance o resolution mula sa baba? Yan ba ay may program of works? Yan ba ay ma-monitor talaga on the ground na actually under construction or actually nagawa, na kumpleto at nagagamit ng maayos? All of these are also covered by warranties. Yung halimbawa, flood control projects, may 5-year warranty yan. At kung at any time in the 5 years masira, dapat, ito yung sinulo ko sa DPWH at pumayag sila, dapat i-repair or ayusin ng contractor at no cost to government. And finally, I guess the greatest check and balance would be itong efforts namin dun sa Open BICAM resolution at pati sa concurrent resolution number 4 na ipinasa ng buong Senado na gawing transparent and accountable yung buong budget process. From the NEP, yung President's Budget o yung National Expenditure Program hanggang sa General Appropriations Act. And yung transparency and accountability dyan ay dahil dapat i-identify sino sa amin ang nag-propose ng ganito o ganyang amendment. Para kung magka-problema somewhere down the road, di ba, it comes back to us. And
correct.
Mas mabilis kaming mananagot. Hindi kailangang investigahan. Kami, yung DPWH na nag-implementa niyan, yung contractors na nag-construct niyan, lahat kami dapat ay madaling gawing accountable ng ating mga mamamayan dahil naging mas transparent yung buong process niyan.
Yung pangalan ho ni Congressman Zaldico ay ito nga po ay nababanggit in line with those insertions. Sa aking understanding, tama po ba na the Senate would most likely or cannot summon a congressman to the hearing?
Oh, the Blue Ribbon could summon or invite anyone Nauna nang may representative na humarap sa amin nung nakaraan, si Representative Toby Chanco. So kung sa move ng sino mang miyembro ng komite at sa desisyon ng chair, pwedeng mag-imbita kahit ng fellow legislator mula sa kabilang house.
So pwede po. Usually lang may interparliamentary courtesy.
Yung interparliamentary courtesy ay halimbawa hindi na pinasumpa si Representative Toby Chanco. May presumption yung chair ng Blue Ribbon na magsasabi naman siya ng totoo. So yun yung mga interparliamentary courtesy namin sa isa't isa.
You have been given the Senate Committee on Health and Demography.
Yes.
Oo. Kayo naman po, ano pong mga plano po ninyo? I mean, we're coming from, I guess, yung all this talk about the DOH budget being, the subsidy being scrapped, no? Ano po mga pagbabago ang hinahabol po ninyo?
Babalikan namin yung kinuhang so-called excess funds ng PhilHealth kasi yan talaga by law ay nasa kamay dapat ng PhilHealth para sa kanyang mga miyembro. Imagine katakataka ngayong taon na zero ang PhilHealth, diba? Walang nakuha. Mula sa dapat sana 69.8 billion hanggang 74.4 billion pesos mula sa sin tax para sa implementasyon ng Universal Healthcare Law. Babalikan po namin kasi maling-maling ginawa yon last year at dapat ibalik talaga sa PhilHealth. If you can tell, Ms. Gretchen, excited akong simulan ng trabaho bilang chairperson ulit ng Senate Committee on Health. In fact, hinanda na akong agenda para sa first 100 days. Okay, isa doon. Reklamo sa opisina ko regarding yung service sa public hospitals. Ang gagawin kong aksyon ay random visit para marinig yung mga hinaing ng mga pasyente, mga doktor, mga hospital administrators. Halimbawa, tungkol sa zero balance billing or tungkol dun sa maisip, yung subsidy para sa ating indigent patients. If you recall, nagkaroon ng viral Facebook post tungkol sa East Avenue Medical Center. Ang nangyari doon, yung sumbong ay pagkuha ng dugo, hindi daw magawa ng maayos. Tapos kinailangan pa niyang kumuha ng wheelchair para sa tatay niya na kalaunan, namatay pa. Sisilipin din ngayon ng Committee on Health yung zero balance billing implementation. Kaugnay ng DOH law. Sisilipin namin yung powers ng Department of Health para sila yung magtakda ng bed capacity ng mga ospital. Gagawin din namin mas sustainable at universal, yung zero balance billing. Halimbawa, dapat kasi, Ms. Gretchen, yung zero balance billing, pinapairal talaga sa lahat ng public hospitals at health facilities. Of course, kahit may zero balance billing, hindi ibig sabihin na malapit na yung full implementation ng universal healthcare. Marami pang problema ang lumalabas na aming sisilipin, tulad ng bed capacity ratio, o yung kakulangan ng DOH retained hospitals o the fact na wala pang universal coverage. Titingnan din ng Committee on Health kung kailangan pa ang public audit yan sa maisip, at yung zero balance billing by Commission on Audit. Pati ko bang kung legitimate ba yung claims at ano ba yung kalidad ng nakuhang serbisyo ng ating mga pasyente at mamamayan. Kasi nakakagaan man yung maisip, kulang siya. Kinakapos pa rin, Gusto natin i-streamline na ang mga health assistance program. Kasi kung ganito, baka sakaling, ma-address ang mga issue. Gaya ng, imagine, pagtanggi ng mga doktor sa mga guarantee letter para sa kanilang professional fees. Di ba dapat covered yon? O pati na rin yung di umano'y fixers at scammers sa maisip at saka sa zero balance billing. Tututukan ko rin yung mga sumbong tungkol sa anti-hospital deposit law at anti-hospital detention bill. Imagine, may mga reklamo pa rin na hindi pinapalabas ng mga ospital ang mga pasyente, kanilang mga bantay. O kaya di nire-release ang labi ng pasyente dahil hindi makapagbayad. O bahala ko rin simulan yung mga pagdilis tungkol sa mga barangay health centers para masigurado na tunay na abot kamay ng lahat ang pagpapagamot gusto ko rin itulak ang isa sa mga happy bills tungkol sa pagtatayo ng Philippine Geriatric Center na isang specialty hospital para sa mga senior citizens. At syempre, patuloy ang pag-aaral ng aking opisina kung paano mas mapapabuti ang kalagayan ng mga healthcare workers natin sa lahat ng public at private hospitals. Tututukan din natin ang iba pang pansala patungkol sa pagtatayo ng ospital para sa mga OFWs. Pati na rin ang mga panukala tungkol sa tuberculosis, autism, at mental health. So, lahat ng ito ay tungo sa pagtupad ng pangarap natin na magka-universal healthcare. And of course, kaugnay niya, iko-convene ko rin ang Congressional Oversight Committee on Universal Healthcare. So, yan yung mga plano ko para sa Committee on Health moving forward.
I'm very, very excited. I can feel it definitely.
Okay.
Is that the reason why you declined the Blue Ribbon Committee chairmanship?
Nag-usap naman kami tungkol dyan at ang consensus naman talaga namin, si Senator Ping ang mag-chair sa Blue Ribbon. And yes, I'm very happy to chair the Committee on Health again after 9 years.
Okay, welcome back. Congratulations on that.
You.
And can't wait to see the developments that you mentioned para mapatibay pa natin implementasyon ng Universal Healthcare Law. In the meantime, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras for today.
Salamat din, Gretchen.